Hey guys, welcome back. I'm hanging out with one of the stars of the new musical on Broadway. I don't know if you would call it new. You guys debuted in December, right? Mm-hmm. Bronx Tale the musical, which was an adaptation, Bradley Gibson, of Bronx Tale on Broadway. Was that an also adaptation of Bronx Tale the movie?
Yep.
Which was an adaptation of Bronx Tale the idea, which was an adaptation of a tale that happened in the Bronx,
yep.
whatever it was.
Yep.
So we're like 27 adaptations later.
We made it to Broadway.
We made it to Broadway. The musical. We're singing about it on Broadway.
Singing about it on Broadway.
Bradley Gibson is, and I've had the pleasure of being able to just hang with him while Connor really sweated it all out to get everything set up here for our 11:30 start at 11:41. But you do your thing. You do you, Connor.
Connor's
you
dope.
do you. Connor's gold. Bradley, who do you play in the show?
I play Tyrone in the show.
Okay, and you even say it like you own it. Like,
Tyrone.
Like, what's your name? Ty. My friends call me Ty. It's Tyrone.
Tyrone.
This is relatively new to you. This is your second show, but your first real substantial role in a show.
My first role in a Broadway musical.
And it's not like a Broadway musical that started on an off Broadway.
Uh-huh.
Like if you're gonna take a chunky, meaty role, like in your first real substantial, you might as well go all the way.
Go all the way.
On Broadway, in a show that has tons of history, directed by...
Robert De Niro and
I'm
Jerry
sorry.
Zaks.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Hold on a second. Hold on just for 1 second.
Yeah.
Bronx Tale, the musical, directed by...
Robert De Niro and Jerry Zaks.
Okay. You're a young guy, obviously. You've got a ton of life and career ahead of you.
I hope so.
And here you are in A Bronx Tale, the new musical, and you're directed, and all of a sudden, first day out, there he is, and there's Robert De Niro.
Yeah, Robert De Niro.
I mean, Bradley?
Bob.
Oh, of course, Bobby. Bobby.
You know.
Yo, Bobby D.
So...
Bobby D. First of all, tell me how this all came about for you.
I auditioned for the show. The show did an out-of-town tryout in New Jersey at the Camille Playhouse a year ago, and I wasn't a part of that. But I heard about it, and I have friends, in the business. Everyone knows everyone. And I had so many friends in the show, and I wanted to go see it, but it sold out. You could not get into the show in New Jersey.
In New Jersey?
You could not go. It was sold out. The audiences loved it there. So I heard of everything that kind of goes through there, these out-of-town tryouts. It might transfer to Broadway. It might come to New York off Broadway.
But you always hear that.
You always hear it. That's the way it always goes.
Right.
So I didn't really think anything about it. I didn't really know about the musical. I, of course, knew the movie. But then I got invited to come in and dance for the show. And then I started getting callbacks to read the Tyrone material. And I started seeing that it was to be considered for the Tyrone understudy or for the role. And at this point in my career, I'm a dancer, I'm a singer, and an actor. So I've always been in the ensemble, and I've always understudied roles.
Okay.
I kind of feel that I'm good at that.
Right. But just for people that don't know the extent of what a grueling role it is to play the understudy, I was fortunate enough, in my lengthy, extensive college acting career to never play understudy, Bradley. I was always sort of the main.
You were a star.
I was a star. I'm just going to tell it like it is.
Yeah,
I was the star. You have to learn the lines.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know the choreography.
Yep.
You have to know the blocking.
Yep.
You have to know all of it.
Everything.
And there's a chance you may never, ever, ever play that part.
I might not ever do it at all.
That is crazy. Okay, so now you think you might be Tyrone the understudy.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that, and at this point I was like, I would love to be on Broadway again. Who wouldn't love to,
of course,
be on a Broadway musical directed by Robert De Niro and Jerry Zaks?
I mean, come on, Jerry Zaks and Robert De Niro.
I would take it anyway.
Right.
It would go, but I had many callbacks and many coachings and
for this
for a Bronx Tale. Had my final callback, which final callbacks for Broadway shows can be extremely scary because you go into a room and it's full of people. All the creative team, all the producers, casting, everyone's there.
And what are they looking for in this final callback?
They're looking for, I think, a final callback. They're looking for the person to come in and play the role.
Own it.
Own it, play the role. They're prepared, they know the material. They have a point of view about how it should be done.
Okay.
And the point of view that they have has to be what they think it should be.
Yeah.
And I think I had done all the work at this point. I knew who Tyrone was. I knew who I thought he was and who he should be. But it was intimidating to go into the room and, center of the table is Robert De Niro, Jerry Zaks, and Chaz Palminteri. Under the table is Alan Menken and Glenn Slater.
Oh!
All of these men who I have, a certain idea of from my childhood or from now in the theater,
Yes.
But I've been in those situations before, those moments where you just kind of have to know that you've done the work and know that you can do it.
Okay, wait. Break it down for me. It's like a long table?
One long table.
I want to know everything.
One long table in the front.
Okay.
And maybe like 2 or 3 tables behind.
Okay, and at the first row with the first table staring right at you is Robert De Niro.
Chaz Palminteri, Jerry Zaks, Alan Menken, Glenn Slater.
Wow, okay. And you walk in.
I walk in.
Are you wearing, were you trying to wear clothes that might make you look like Tyrone? Yeah. I always wonder if actors do that.
At this point in the callback process, they started asking us to come in looking young. Okay. Tyrone is 17 years old. Okay. So I had to shave all my facial hair and kind of wear something that I would think looked,
yeah,
schoolboy-esque. Right. So I had a polo on, actually kind of similar to this one, and like jeans and some sneakers because of the 60s.
Yeah.
So I went in and I did it.
What did you do? Do you have to read something?
I had to do a scene. And
was it memorized or did you read it?
Fully memorized.
It had to be memorized.
I mean, at this point in the game, it should be memorized, but I'm kind of crazy in the sense that when I first go in, I want to be as memorized as I possibly can.
So your agent says, this is the scene that they're going to be doing. Someone's going to play the other part. This is great behind-the-scenes stuff. On the off chance you guys ever want to go audition for a Broadway show. And you're going to be Tyrone. Yeah. And, what's the last piece of advice your agent gives you, right before you head into something like this?
We emailed the night before, and he just called me and said, just do your best. He was like, kill it, buddy. He was like, you got this. He was like, you come this far.
Okay, that advice is never going to go viral on Instagram, but still good advice. Still good advice. No.
I love my agent.
Love your agent. Don't even know who it is. It's love.
He told me to do my best. And he's like, you got this far, so obviously you're doing something right. Just commit. And don't be nervous and do the work.
How long did it last?
It was so fast. It was maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And I was also a testament to the show again. At this point, I had maybe 5 or 6 callbacks, and I'd been seeing the same actors over and over again, and we'd already gotten so close. We were going to lunch together, we were supporting each other and having a good time.
Yes.
So in the waiting area was like a party,
Right.
Support it. Everyone's talking about what they're doing, how they're feeling. We're planning to go to lunch afterwards. But it was so fast. And in the theater, you never know. I mean, in the business of performing, you never know how fast you're going to find out about if you got the job or not.
Yeah.
So I went to lunch with a few of the people from the callback. I went home, and I was exhausted because the callback was at 10 a.m. and I couldn't sleep.
It's a lot of effort.
A lot of adrenaline. I was exhausted. I took a nap. It was the first day in maybe 2 months that I had a full day free. Took a nap, passed out. I woke up, and I had a missed call from my mom. I was like, oh, she's calling me again.
Yeah.
I'm going to go use the bathroom and shower, and then I'll call her back.
Right.
I come out of the bathroom, and my phone is ringing, and it's my agent. And I was like, that's weird, he's calling me today.
Yeah.
I answer it, and I hear him on the phone saying, no, he got it, the part, he got the part. And I was like, hello? He's like, what are you doing, Bradley? I was like, I'm just at home. He's like, who are you with? I'm like, by myself.
Naked, just get out of the shower, get to the point.
Alone. He was like, but are you going to be on Broadway?
No!
And I was like, cool. And my reaction then was, cool. I was like, I'm in the show, I'm going to understand. She's like, no, you are Tyrone. You are the part.
I love it.
And I fell to my knees, I fell to the ground and just began crying like a little baby.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great story. We're talking to Bradley Gibson, who plays Tyrone in A Bronx Tale, the musical on Broadway, directed by, among other people, Robert De Niro. Tell people a little bit about the show and how different it is from the original screenplay of A Bronx Tale.
Well, the show began, A Bronx Tale was the life of Chaz Palminteri. His growing up in the Bronx, Belmont Avenue, and close by was Webster Avenue, the African-American side of town. His life and the things he learned from his father and his mother and also his mentor, Sonny, who was, the local gang mobster in town. And Chaz is an actor, and he was in LA, and he wrote a play, a one-man show.
About himself.
Ended up becoming a huge hit. Tons of directors and producers wanted to get their hands on it.
Why?
Because it's a story of growing up, so a coming-of-age story, kind of realizing who you are and how you can be taught to think a certain way, but people come and leave your life that make you think otherwise. That we're taught to feel a certain way, but we change, we grow, we evolve as human beings.
Right.
And I think everyone kind of connected to that and to his story in some way. And everyone wanted a piece of it. Everyone wanted to make this a movie.
Was he already an actor when he wrote this?
Yes.
Okay, and was he very successful?
I don't think he was very successful at this point. But he was very determined because he refused to give up the rights to the show unless he got to write the screenplay and unless he got to play Sonny.
Okay.
One day, he comes out of the show, and Robert De Niro is there and says he wants to make his directorial debut, and he is willing to let him write the screenplay and willing to let him play Sonny. They make A Bronx Tale. It's a hit.
Big hit.
Big hit.
Big hit.
Big hit. A classic movie.
Classic movie.
My parents love the movie.
Sure. Who doesn't love the movie?
Growing up seeing it, Little C.
Yep.
So huge hit. Then Chaz ends up doing the show on Broadway.
Okay.
And then it becomes a musical.
Now, that's always interesting to me. Who decides when it should become a musical, and why would you think that would be successful, and why not just sort of reinvent the play as opposed to turning it into a musical?
Yeah. Well, I know Chaz says he always could see the show as a musical. He says that he could always hear music with the show, and that music of the times. In the movie, there's doo-wop guys in the corner singing, and there's a sound of that era too.
Okay.
The '60s has a sound.
Yeah.
I think think Motown, you think doo-wop music, you think the world was changing so much in the '60s, from the '50s, and it's not as evolved as the '70s, or free as the '70s, but the world was shaken. Martin Luther King, JFK's assassination, and so many things happened in the '60s.
Right.
So, he says he always could hear music with the show.
Okay.
And with the doo-wop being such a part of his neighborhood and a part of the movie, it was no more than natural to make that a part of the musical than having Alan Menken and Glenn Slater come on board, who are geniuses.
Yep.
Alan Menken, I tell him all the time, he helped raise me,
Yeah.
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, all those movies.
Part of who you are.
Part of who I am.
Yep.
Part of why I do what I do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I tell everyone, Beauty and the Beast, I wore out that VHS. We went through 4 tapes.
Yeah, I tell everyone Harper's going to be in A Bronx Tale one day. Harper's my 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because she loves Beauty and the Beast.
This is going to happen.
Something's going to happen.
It leads to A Bronx Tale.
What's it like working with Robert De Niro? I'm sorry, Bobby.
Bob.
Bob. Sorry.
Bob.
Bob and I are like this, and I'm over here. Okay.
He is incredibly detailed. I think that in the theater, we're so worried about big things, the big picture, what's happening, formations, and how the choreography goes, and how I'm saying this line to the audience of who I'm talking to.
Right.
And he's concerned with all those things, of course, but he's also concerned with the smallest details.
Like what?
Like your haircut, or what kind of chain you're wearing, or how a certain punch lands, like what direction your face hits in a punch, and what ad-lib someone's saying to you as a racial slur, like the smallest details that I think many people would kind of, look over and not think about.
Right.
He just thinks so intensely about them, and that's so cool.
Is that something that, say, screenwriters, screen actors do, or is that not usually what Broadway people tend to do? Is that out of the ordinary?
I would imagine that in the film world, details matter because the frame is close.
Sure.
In the theater, you're sitting away from it.
And you can get away with a few things here and there.
In the movies, it's a close-up.
Yeah.
You see every detail, and the details of the movie help create the world and help us as an audience get wrapped up into it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's what that is, and I think I know that it's what sets our show apart.
Okay.
It's because we're keeping so authentic to the world of the Bronx and to the world of the time.
Right.
Too. So.
Explain to people who don't really know how it works on Broadway. So you show up, you get the script when? In like September?
Yeah, I got the script in September.
You have to memorize your lines from September to December, and sometime in there you're blocking and doing rehearsals?
Yeah, September we rehearsed, learned the music, blocking, choreography.
And that's when De Niro's part of all of that?
Yes.
So he's like standing there and he's like, Bradley, if I've told you once, I've told you 100 times. The move is this. The move isn't this, it's this.
No, that was Sergio.
Oh, that was Sergio, of course.
Sergio
yes.
was nailing that into us. No, but there was a crazy day where he was there while we choreographed the big fight that I get into.
Okay.
And he was not, happy with the way a certain punch was looking, or how it was landing, or how it appeared to the audience perspective. And he stepped in. My friend Keith, who does it in the show to me, he was like, stand aside for a second. Robert De Niro gets on top of me and is pretending to punch me in the face, and is holding me and pretending to punch me. And I had a outer body experience. I was like, Robert De Niro is punching me in the face.
Right? It's so
this
good.
This is so cool.
You're like this. You're like, keep going. Can you get in screen? You guys have
someone get out my phone, please. Please, take a photo of this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So 3 weeks of rehearsal in the studio, week of tech, about 4 weeks of rehearsal.
Okay.
And then we started previews. A month of previews where we rehearse in the daytime and do the show at night for a full audience.
It's got to be nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking and hard.
Because you don't know it, it's not by rote. Like, you don't know it by heart.
Yeah,
it's not like
changing.
second nature. Things are changing.
Every day you might get a new line,
yeah.
a song might be cut, they might add some different choreography.
Wow.
And you have to it's fast.
Yeah.
And everyone's tired. The creative team is tired, the actors are tired, the crew guys are tired. They're working so hard on the set and sound. But then after that, you get an amazing opening night where you get to do it for your family and friends and the theater community, and you have a party and celebrate afterwards, and now we're up and running.
Look, I've known you now for easily, 41 minutes, we go way back. You have a very calm demeanor about you. You have a really sweet soul. You're such a pleasure to just sort of be around. But explain to me how big a deal it is to be on Broadway, how serious it is, how you can't just make mistakes like you can on off-Broadway at little playwrights. You can't be ad-libbing lines like left and right. Like, there's a lot of pressure. A lot of people invest a lot of money. You're paying the theater a lot of money. Absolutely. Like, this advertising is a lot of money. Absolutely. And all these guys, it's on you. It's not on De Niro at this point. Now, like, when the curtain comes up, like, it's on you and the cast to make this either work or not work. It's a big deal. So talk about the pressure that's placed on you as an actor, or do you not feel that?
I feel pressure to do my job well.
Okay.
I think that it's my job to play the role in a way that adds to the story and adds to the play, and evokes a certain emotion within myself, and then evokes a certain emotion within the audience.
Okay.
And I think that requires me to be prepared and to take care of myself and my voice and my body, and it's a lot of pressure. But it's not pressure that I feel I don't want to do. It's something I want to do because I love what I do.
Right.
I want to do this my entire life, and I think that if it's on Broadway, if it's off-Broadway, whatever it is, I'm getting the chance to perform for an audience of people, and that's all I've ever wanted in my entire life. So,
I love it. It's so beautiful. My favorite part about, people always ask, what would you do if you weren't doing TV? And honestly, my answer is always, and you guys know this, is always, I'd love to be in a play on Broadway. And why? Not because of the glory or the fame or any of it, but because of the camaraderie you have with your cast. Mm-hmm. But because of, it's you against them. It's like you're a team, and the audience is not your opponent, but there's a wall there, but there's no wall on the night of the show. And you're all doing this together, and if one person craps out, everyone else, the structure kind of wobbles a little bit. Everyone's got to play. It's like a big game of Jenga, and I love that. And what I love most about it is that you guys you're friends. You have a really good time. You're friends with all the cast members, right? Oh. Not just you show up for work with your briefcase, you genuinely like them.
That's my family. That's my show family.
Yes.
I love going to work. I look forward to going to see my cast every night and get to play on stage with them and get to talk to them backstage and catch up with them and see how their days are and look at pictures of their kids, or we're so lucky that we have that.
Who are some of the other cast members?
Ariana DeBose, she plays my sister Jane. Bobby Conte Thornton plays Calogero, our lead.
Yep.
Nick Cordero plays Sonny.
Nice.
Richard Blake plays Lorenzo.
Okay.
We have Christiane Pitts. She plays Denise, one of Jane's friends.
Yep.
Gilbert Bailey plays Jesse, one of our friends.
Right.
We have a great company.
You have a really good cast.
We have a really good cast.
Do you guys joke around, play jokes on each other, practical jokes, try to trip each other up the way I always did? In my very famous days as an actress in my state school Geneseo in college. So
but as a star. Well,
I was never the understudy. I'm sorry. A star.
We know.
I didn't come in as the understudy. I'm not going out as the understudy. Okay. All right.
There's always some jokes going on.
Yeah.
I think there's always something in the work. 'Cause we have a really good time. We're always singing too.
Okay.
We're always singing like old school jams backstage,
Yeah.
or like laughing about something. Yeah, there's always some sort of humor happening backstage.
It's all so good, right?
Yeah.
So before Bronx Tale, you were in Rocky.
Yeah.
So you're really big on movie adaptations in the Broadway world.
Right, that's my thing.
That is your thing.
Got a movie will make it to a musical?
This is your guy right here. I'm trying to think of a good one. Like The Prince of Tides. That's not a musical.
Rudy.
Because you would play Perfect Rudy. Perfect Rudy.
Perfect.
If anyone's got a movie that's going to turn into a Broadway adaptation in the musical sense with a little bit of dancing, this is your guy right here, Bradley Gibson.
Call my people.
But you have to have, with the success of shows that have come and gone on Broadway, a list of your top, like, your dream list. Like, is there a show, 2 shows, 3 shows you would kill to be in that's out right now?
Right now.
Put it out into the ether.
Right now that's out. I have always had I would love to be Fiyero in Wicked. That'd be fun.
Wicked is one of my favorite shows.
It'd be a good time.
We interviewed Megan Hilty. And we talked about, because I saw her in that show, and I absolutely fell in love with Wicked. And the most played song on my iTunes list of all times is Popular. Isn't that funny?
What a good feel good for
right?
You to listen to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wicked, that's so great.
I'd love to do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It'd be a good time. I think I could play that part. I get to dance. I'm a dancer.
Kidding? Is it assumed that if you're on Broadway, you've seen all the Broadway shows, or is that hard with timing?
It's funny, when you're in a show, it's hard to see the other shows that are going on, because you're on pretty much the same schedule. So it's not assumed, but I mean, I think seeing theater is a part of my job too.
Yeah.
I'm required to know what's going on, and also if you're in a show, we have so many other friends who are in shows, and you want to be able to support your friends and see their shows, especially right now, going towards the spring where so many things are opening up. New shows are opening.
Yeah.
I have so many friends coming to Broadway or making their Broadway debuts or doing like their 10th show or whatever it might be. But you still want to go and you want to support them and see what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome. And then you can't think ahead past the show. Like you're in this show, Bradley, for a while. Like you can't even think what's next because this is, and you don't know how long this is going to be on for, right?
No. So you're kind of just sitting, thankfully, in a great position, in a great show with great people. But right now my focus is a Bronx Tale. I'm playing Tyrone.
When I watch a news broadcast, I kind of have an idea of what's going on behind the snes just because I've done it for so long. When you watch a Broadway show, can you tell if someone screws up? If you can tell if the line was not right, you can tell if the blocking was a little off. Can you tell when what's happening, what's not happening?
Sometimes I can tell. Depends. Sometimes you can tell because as actors, we are so close. The companies are so close.
Yeah.
You usually know if they're laughing or something. Or
right.
You're like, oh, there's a little inside
something
joke happening right over there.
Right.
But that's the fun part of theater. It's live theater, so everything's going to be different every night. And I love that kind of stuff because that makes it exciting.
You're a kid from North Carolina.
Yep, I'm from North Carolina.
You've been in New York 4 years.
Yep.
How proud is your family of you right now?
They're super proud. They're super proud. I told you, my mom, I think, was more excited about Bronx Tale than me just because she loves the movie so much.
Right.
The way her and my grandmother and my aunts and uncles, they screamed when they found I was doing this.
Yeah.
Also because, they've known this is all I've ever thought about my entire life.
Yeah.
My entire life, it's been my only focus, really.
Right.
And I've been so determined to do it. And coming from a town that, what I do is not the norm.
Right.
You don't really leave the South or go to New York or go to college in Boston.
And if you do, you're not making it.
Yeah.
It's hard to make it.
It's not realistic,
I think you are really cool. I love hanging with you. You have such this beautiful outlook on work and play and life and family, and I just absolutely loved hanging out with you. This is Bradley Gibson, everyone. You can see him on Broadway. Bronx Tale the Musical. It's a rockin' awesome show. He plays Tyrone. How do you not want to go see Tyrone?
Come on.
Let's be friends forever so that when you're in Wicked, I can come by and see you and spend hours and hours and hours and hours before and after singing Popular to you.
Perfect.
I have an amazing voice. Just wanted to let you know.
And
we'll be friends forever.
I love it.
Oh, fantastic. And we have your Twitter handle and your Facebook handle and Insta and all of it.
Everybody is saying really positive things here. Sherry Stretches saying
about my
fascinating.
interviewing skills?
Well, about how fascinating he is.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Laura Dake is actually talking about a friend of hers who's in Hamilton, Chicago cast. Mary Cole is saying that it's great to see someone with such great goals and aspirations. Darren was actually pointing out how well spoken you are, and was pointing out that the people behind the camera should probably take lessons from. However,
Thanks, guys.
Because it's been pointed out many times that I don't really articulate that well. So
There you go.
that is,
guys.
yes, there's a lot more about it. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Very positive. You get instant feedback when you do social media live streaming shows like this, so it's good. And we've got a great group of fans in our base. So we'll come back and visit you again, and we'll follow you around like stalkers. And then on your next show, we'll be sitting right here just with different posters behind you.
I want to do this again.
Let's do it as often as you
ways.
want. I love it. Did you hear
Your
what he
star
said?
ways.
I'm going to be a movie star one day. Thank you so much. Fantastic. All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back.
Pictures.
Okay,
Bye, guys.
perfect. Sitting down or standing up?
I have with the cameras. Let me take one sitting down and then one standing up.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
break.